Madam Speaker and honorable members of the August House, Happy New Year to you all. I stand before you to respond to the State of the Nation Address, SONA, which was delivered here in Parliament on Thursday, 3rd February 2022, by His Excellency President Lazarus Chakwera, and he entitled it Fixing the Systems to Deliver Long-Term Priorities and Diffuse Short-Term Pressures. Madam Speaker, before I delve into my substantive response, allow me to recognize that our country is currently reeling from the devastating effects of Cyclone Ana. The heavy rains and winds that the country experienced, particularly in the southern region, caused massive devastation. Many people lost their lives, about 32 of them. Some are still missing, and property worth millions of Malawi kwacha has been damaged. Hundreds of families have been rendered homeless. It is in this vein that I wish to request the entire House to stand and join me in observing a minute of silence in honor of those that have lost their lives due to the Cyclone Ana. With your permission, Madam. I thank you, and may their soul rest in peace. Thank you. Madam Speaker, let me commend the government through Dodima for responding in time to help those that have been affected by the cyclone. In the same vein, I would like to urge the government to consider investing more in resilient and adaptation efforts, such as the construction of durable infrastructure, as well as sensitizing communities living in flood-prone areas to seriously consider relocating to uplands. Madam Speaker, last time I stood here to make a speech was in December, that is last year. In the course of my speech, some members from the opposite side booed me. I was called all sorts of names because apparently I may have said things they did not like. I know that today I will also be booed because I will probably say things that they will not again like. To me, Madam Speaker, that is okay, because I stand by what I say, because I say the truth, and that the work of Malawians assigned me to do here. I will stand on the side of Malawians in holding this government accountable on what it promised to deliver to Malawians. As a believer, I also go by what the scriptures teach us in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 19, and it is written, and I quote, "Truthful lips will be..."
Honorable members, order please. Order. I have order on my right, please. Order, please.
Truthful lips will be established forever, but a lying tongue is only for a moment. End of quote. Madam Speaker, someone told me that politics is about telling the voters that you do or what you will do in 1, 2, 3 or 4 years' time, and being able to tell the voters again why you did not go or why you did not do what you promised when that time elapses. The huge gap between what this government promised and what it is actually delivering makes me believe that the statement is true. The only difference is that excuses for failure from this government are not convincing. Madam Speaker, during the campaign period, President Lazarus Chakwera and his Stones Alliance partners talked with sharp tongues about how they would take Malawians to the Holy Grail. They said Malawi would be a land of milk and honey, where basic goods and services will be affordable to everyone. Madam Speaker,
He's protected. Please, can I have order? He's protected. Proceed, Honorable Leader. Can we hear the Honorable Leader of Opposition in silence, please? Can we have order, please? On my right, can I have order? For the last time, can I have order, please?
Malawians were promised jobs and universal affordable farm inputs. We were told the price of fuel would not be high, that there will be free electricity and water connection, that there will be no favoritism in employment. Madam Speaker, I don't need to be responded to by the Minister of Health. I'm addressing you, Madam Speaker.
Sir, please address the chair. Honorable Minister, will you be given time to respond if the issues that you want to clarify? Thank you. Minister of Health, I'll give you a chance immediately. You cannot interrupt the Leader of Opposition. I'll give you time immediately after his response. Thank you. Not given the time to the Honorable Minister. I've said that should be given time after. Yes.
Madam Speaker, we were told that there will be no favoritism in employment of public officers, and that people will be employed on merit regardless of their political, religious and tribal affiliations. In short, Madam Speaker, we are told that there will not be any corruption, nepotism, tribalism and regionalism in that purported land of milk and honey. However, the President has not lived up to his promise of appointing people based on merit. He is the first one who is abusing his position of authority by appointing his own daughter and other family members to diplomatic government positions. Madam Speaker.
Minister of Health, I'll give you time immediately after. You cannot disturb him when he's making his statement. So I'll give you time immediately after. Thank you, Minister of Health.
I'm rising as the Deputy Chief Whip, not Minister of Health.
That's not acceptable.
In whatever capacity you are rising, I will only recognize you immediately after the speech, but not in between. Thank you.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable members, can we have order, please? Can I have order? Can we have order, please, honorable members? From both sides, can I have order, please?
Madam Speaker,
Proceed, Leader of Opposition.
Malawians were promised cheap passports and driving licenses that do not expire. Malawians were told that there will be monthly allowance for our senior citizens, the elderly. Malawians were told that the healthcare system will be robust with adequate medicines and equipment. Malawians were told that there will be no students drop out in public universities due to fees. Malawians were told, Madam Speaker, that they would be able to access loans from the National Economic Empowerment Fund, NIF, without regard to their political belonging. Indeed, Malawians were told that police officers on the road for hours on end awaiting the President's motorcade to pass. Malawians were told that the presidential trimmed, among other unfulfilled. Speaker, President Lazarus Chakwera said the first after taking office would be to ensure that a bill is sent to Parliament to ensure that presidential powers are reduced. The President said it was his burning desire to see the Anti-Corruption Bureau, SCB, be independent by, among other things, ensuring that the SCB director is not appointed by the President. Madam Speaker,
Members on my left, can we have order, please?
President Chakwera told us that his would be a listening government which serves the interests of Malawians and not his cronies' interests. He said the Tonse philosophy meant Malawi for all, regardless of one's political, tribal, or religious affiliation. Malawians will agree with me now that the President sold us a dummy and that Tonse Alliance is merely a hot air balloon. Madam Speaker, this was the third SONA by President Chakwera since he became president, and Malawians are no better than they were before this government came to power. In fact, the economic situation now is worse than at any time in the history of multi-party democracy in this country. Inefficiency in the public sector is at its worst, with high levels of official corruption taking root. The sharp promises about fighting corruption by, among other things, making the SCB independent have all but faded into the twilight. The much-touted bills that were going to be sent to Parliament immediately after taking office to reduce presidential powers and ensure the independence of the SCB have suddenly dropped out of circulation. Instead, the bill that the President was quick to assent to is the one that curtails freedom of workers,
Nchisi South, order please, Nchisi South.
Madam Speaker, Instead, the bill that the President was quick to assent to is the one that curtails freedom of workers, the one that allows employers to fire their employees for demanding their rights in a democratic nation. Madam Speaker, it is not surprising that by now the majority of Malawians who voted for the Toast Alliance into power have quickly begun to doubt the ability of the current leadership to deliver the promised Canaan. The corruption fight has turned out to be just a scattergun with President Chakwera clearly paying lip service, saying nice things in nice English, but doing the opposite behind the scenes. Promising to support SEB whilst denying funding to the institution, to the point where officers at the Bureau are using their personal money to carry out operations. Is this servant leadership, Madam Speaker? Within the same period, we have seen the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions clearly fighting the SEB. The Attorney General has attempted to publicly justify that he is boss of SEB, whilst the Director of Public Prosecutions has been blocking the SEB from prosecuting key suspects in high-profile cases, citing some muted reasons. Honorable Vua Kaunda, I need a bottle of water. Honorable Vua. In fact, Madam Speaker, we are just hearing rumors that some corruption suspect has actually voted and speaked out of the country. Is this the commitment to fight corruption that President Chakwera talked about before he ascended to power? Madam Speaker, Malawians have welcomed 2022 with dashed hopes and increased skepticism. They have realized that the Malawi Okomera Tonse, that was much hyped ahead of the June 2020 presidential election by President Chakwera and his Toast Alliance partners, was just a Trojan horse meant to hoodwink them to the killing fields. Prices of fuel and other basic commodities and services are still rising every day, and the government clearly does not have a clue on what to do about it. This government, Madam Speaker, keeps coming up with one...
Honorable Minister of Energy, I'll give you space immediately after. You cannot interrupt the leader, so I'll give you space immediately after. Thank you. Order, please. Order, honorable members. Let's hear the leader of opposition in silence, please. Order, please.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable member for Zid Blantyre, Southeast, can I have order, please? Lima Southeast, order, please.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable member, can I have order, please? Honorable member for Blantyre City, can I have order? Honorable member, can I have order, please? Honorable member, can you resume your seat, please?
Madam Speaker.
Sit, Leader of Opposition.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, allow me to welcome and congratulate Honorable Matola for being appointed into Cabinet. The talk, Madam Speaker, about the COVID-19 pandemic, the rising global fuel prices, and Madam Speaker, I'm sure that very soon they'll be talking about Cyclone Anna for being a cause of them to fail to deliver to the public. This is very shameful. Madam Speaker, much as some of these excuses
Honorable members, can we hear the Honorable Leader of Opposition in silence, please? And Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, I've already guided that if you have anything that you want to say, stand immediately after. But I'm not recognize anybody whilst he's on the floor. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, much as some of these excuses may be legitimate, may I remind President Chakwera once again that he came to power amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Malawians voted for him because he said he had a better strategy to fight the pandemic. Mr. President, the buck stops at you to deliver your promises, and please deliver, Mr. President. Madam Speaker, just across the border in Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema took office on 24th of August 2021 amidst the same COVID-19 pandemic. Barely a year in office and amidst the same COVID-19 pandemic, he has made telling decisions, and one can see that Zambia is currently making serious social and economic progress. For example, the Zambian government is able to keep the inflation down, ensuring stable and predictable prices of essential goods and services. Medicines are found in the hospitals. The government there is able to employ additional doctors, nurses, teachers, social workers, among other things. Secondary education in Zambia, Madam Speaker, is now free. Zambia has erupted into a bustling construction site of roads and other infrastructure projects. Economists will tell you that in that scenario, what it means is that the economy is developing and that money is circulating properly. Fixing broken systems. Madam Speaker, it is true that we have broken systems permeating the public and private sectors. I commend the President for admitting that fact and for spelling out that something needs to be done about it. However, looking at how this government is going about doing its business, it is doubtful that President Chakwera is capable of fixing the broken systems he is talking about. Fixing broken systems requires commitment and decisive leadership, something that Malawi currently does not have. Unfortunately, we have a president who hardly sits in office. We have a leader who takes ages to make simple decisions, a president whose only first love is traveling across the country and the world, making beautiful speeches without any backing action. Malawians are tired of listening to colorful speeches and being told what the government plans to do. Instead, they demand action. Malawians deserve action. Malawians want their lives to transform for the better. Malawians demand jobs. Malawians demand businesses. Malawians demand an end to corruption. Malawians demand an end to systematic inefficiency in the public service. Malawians demand accountability. And Malawians, Madam Speaker, demand competence. Madam Speaker, if delivering these promises is dependent upon fixing broken systems, then I can say with certainty that this government has miserably failed for the mere reason that President Chakwera himself is a danger to the process. He is actually the broken system himself. For example, in May 2021, President Chakwera received a report on civil service reforms from his Vice President, His Honor Dr. Saulos Klaus Chirima, which we are told recommended action plans to be taken to make the civil service more agile and efficient. Madam Speaker, as I stand here today, that report is still under wraps and has not been made public, despite calls for its release. We only saw the President, Madam Speaker, launching what he is calling a presidential delivery unit, whose function is also not well clarified. Is this delivery unit part of the recommendations in the reform report from the Vice President? And Mr. President, why give the Vice President and his task force 90 days to produce a reform report if you knew you would just sit on it? Madam Speaker, we are informed that there are over 15 bids for various construction works across the country that have already received no objection notes from the PPDA. But the paperwork has been domiciled at OPC for months. Apparently, Madam Speaker, we are informed that the reason is that the Secretary, the President and Cabinet wants to verify as to whether the bidders are supporters of the Malawi Congress Party or not. Is this also part of the recommendations in the reform report? Madam Speaker, in his SONA, the President lamented about facing resistance in his request to reform and fix the broken system. But looking at the fake manner with which the government is going about carrying out reforms and fixing the so-called broken system, I have no choice but to conclude that President Chakwera and his panel of lieutenants are actually the ones that are resisting the change. The economy. On the economy, Madam Speaker, regardless of the statistics about GDP, inflation, and so on that the President Razak Chakwera presented in his SONA, the sum total of things is that our economy is not doing any better. It is a daily struggle for the common Malawian, and the outlook does not offer any hope. President Chakwera has brought Malawians to the edge of the cliff. The President admitted in his SONA that GDP growth of 3% is less than projected, that donor support is waning, that gross official reserves have subdued, that the Malawi kwacha has depreciated in value against major currencies, and that the annual average inflation has gone up. This is what the President himself has admitted, but I wish to remind him of one more thing that he has forgotten. Public debt is currently equal to the value of our GDP, and this is not healthy for our economy. Madam Speaker, this is the first budget that the Tonse administration will be implementing since the launch of the Malawi 2063 development agenda. This is the agenda that promises our citizens an exclusive, wealthy, self-reliant, and upper-income nation. I expected, Madam Speaker, this budget to set the pace and assure Malawians that we are indeed on a sure footing towards attaining that agenda. But have we set the pace? Have we set the agenda? The answer, Madam Speaker, is yes, but probably a bad one. Why am I saying a bad one? Because for the first time in our history, one requires 1,000 kwacha to acquire $1. For the first time in our history, Madam Speaker, one requires over 1,000 kwacha to purchase a liter of petrol or diesel. For the first time in the history, Madam Speaker, of our existence, a bottle of cooking oil has reached over 10,000 kwacha. Madam Speaker, in the SONA, the President was short of being assertive on money policy, as he could not specify the direction the money policy rate will take. That left us guessing that the interest rate is intending to go up, and President Chakwera was not comfortable to say it. Our only warning is that when the policy goes up, the agenda of the infrastructure development, private sector growth, including development of SMEs, as well as the creation of jobs will also go up in the flames. Madam Speaker, let me also mention that another enemy of development today is the way the IFMIS is operated to facilitate the payments. Madam Speaker, it takes a minimum of 1 month from the day a payment voucher is prepared to the day the credit will hit one's account. And members of Parliament might agree with me on this. This is devastating to businesses, especially SMEs, as well as the economy at large, and it goes against the much-touted government's agenda of developing indigenous businesses as a way of growing the economy. Madam Speaker, there is a general hostile investment climate where companies are scaling down due to shrinking demand and high cost of raw materials. That is not to mention the high taxes, and of course the COVID-19 pandemic, the government must revamp its tax regime and create an enabling environment for investment and enterprise. The government must focus on stimulating production rather than consumption. However, our budget gearing is still over 80% recurrent, with very little for production, and I do not expect things to change in the near future, looking at how this government is spending. We need radical reforms in this aspect. Madam Speaker, in his address, the President also said his government had created 997,423 jobs in the 2021-2022 fiscal year in both private and public sector. I do not know where exactly those jobs are and who may have been given the President these statistics. From my observation, I'm glad that Malawians are able to discern that the President was lying on these employment statistics. I was listening to a radio phone-in program immediately after the President had addressed the nation last Thursday. Listeners were asked to give their feedback on the President's SONA. Almost all the listeners dwelt on these controversial job statistics, and over 90% of them said the President was lying because his government has hardly created any job. In fact, thousands of jobs were lost within the same period. A recent government annual economic report, Madam Speaker, has indicated that 300,000 people working in the tourism industry alone had lost their jobs last year, 2021. Due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. In July 2021, President Rasas Chakwera appeared on BBC Hard Talk TV program where he admitted that his government has failed to create 1 million jobs that he promised, and that 600,000 jobs had in fact been lost instead. Now, to come back 7 months later and claim that his government has created 900,000 jobs is very strange. Madam Speaker, the austerity measures that the President announced in his SONA are also little and coming too late. For example, the President said there would be a review of benefits and entitlements of senior government officials, including the Presidency and all cabinet ministers. What form would this review take? For how long should Malawians wait for such a review to take effect? In fact, I doubt if the President means what he is saying, because if he was serious about cutting expenditure, then he should have started by appointing a lean cabinet, but he missed that opportunity when he announced his 32-member cabinet a few days ago. In fact, he created an extra ministry. Madam Speaker, instead Malawians have seen that the President is an invertebrate without spine to sack ministers who are giving him a bad name. This is the reason why the recent cabinet reshuffle, which included the late last night inclusion, was a missed opportunity for the President to show that he means what he says. Healthy systems, Madam Speaker, In the last budget, the health sector was allocated 187.2 billion kwacha, which was 1.8% of GDP and 9.4% of the total budget. Some of this money was meant to procure drugs and vaccines, maintenance costs for hospitals and medical equipment, as well as development projects. It is sad that the healthcare system is practically on deathbed today. Hospitals are going months on end without drugs and equipment.
Please order, honorable members on both sides. Order, please.
Patients are being sent home without treatment, whilst many are dying from curable diseases. Some hospitals, such as Zomba and Mulanje, do not even have running water, a scenario which is exposing patients and other guardians to other secondary diseases due to the lack of proper hygiene. The question is, where has all that money allocated to the Ministry of Health gone? On AIP, Madam Speaker, on AIP, I know this government regards the Affordable Inputs Program, AIP, as a successful project. But much as there have been some recorded successes, the program in its current form is fraught with so many problems that are threatening to erode the successes and raising pertinent questions. For example, despite the purported implementation of AIP last year, why should in a year of a bumper yield, ADMAC should still be selling a 50 kg bag of maize at 10,000 kwacha today? Again, why should we as a country in a year of bumper harvest be failing to support families that have been affected by hunger? Madam Speaker, you know, just like I do, that the number of AIP beneficiaries has been drastically reduced this year. And the program has been hijacked by middlemen who are threatening to cut away the targeted beneficiaries. Yet again, in a year of bumper yield, inflation, which has all along oscillated within single digits, has, as I speak now, shot to double digits. The situation on the ground is failing to speak to the huge amount of money we are spending on IAP. And, Madam Speaker, it leaves us Madam Speaker, it leaves us with more questions than answers. Are we being honest with Malawians when we report that we had a bumper yield last year? What has gone wrong? As I'm talking now, there's no urea fertilizer in the country, and beneficiaries have been told to purchase 2 NPK bags of fertilizer instead of NPK and 1 urea bag. What this means, Madam Speaker, is that we should probably expect low yields this season and possibly hunger, because urea fertilizer helps the maize to produce high yield. Madam Speaker, in brief, the AIP this year is the worst ever due to the following reasons. One, suppliers were awarded contracts late in end October 2021.
Leader of the House, you have 2 minutes. You started at 10:50. You have 2 minutes to go.
There have been interjections.
Interjections, yes. Then I'll add another 1, 2 minutes.
Suppliers were awarded contracts late in end October 2021, and most of them rejected to participate because of unfavorable prices. 2, there were inadequate stocks in the country, and up to now, there is no urea. 3, most of the suppliers who are participating are just scanning IDs without selling the actual fertilizer. And the government should not be cheated by the number of beneficiaries appearing in their system as having bought the fertilizer. The figure of beneficiaries is dominated by IDs that have just been scanned, and farmers are being paid 12,000 kwacha for both bags. And fourthly, most farmers have been robbed of their bags from the IDs by vendors who are accessing ID numbers by crooked means. Madam Speaker, the government must also relook into the cost of IIP against the benefits of the large economy of the country. There are huge costs to AIP that the government is incurring through subsidized fertilizers. On mining, let me agree with the President that mining is a potential replacement for our traditional exports and a major foreign exchange earner. Where I do not agree, Madam Speaker, with him is on his celebration over the 58 kgs of gold purchased over a period of 6 months. I think we need to be serious, at least for once. Our findings have revealed that at every site where mining takes place, they produce at least a minimum of 300 grams of gold per day. This means from the country's 5 prominent sites, the production was over 300 kgs in 6 months. Now, the question is, where has the other 240 kgs gone? Who bought it when the Reserve Bank of Malawi is the sole buyer? Madam Speaker, I would like to once again urge the President to fulfill his campaign promises. If he does not know, let me tell him this. He is currently presiding over a frustrated nation because of unfulfilled promises. Malawians have found his leadership to be wanting. The President should remember that he is in that office by vote and trust of all Malawians, not his friends and functionaries or family. He is not in that office to please certain individuals, but Malawians. He is there to drive the best interests of this country and citizens. He must not fear risking his close friendships and relations if it is what it would take to deliver his promises. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I would have expected the SONA to give an outline of economic, social governance and rule of law situation of the country. The SONA, in giving an outline of the economic, social governance and rule of law situation, is also alluding to the status, functions and delivery by the executive, legislative and judicial organs of the state. Policies for the future and policies reported for the previous year must therefore include for the executive, the legislature and of course the judiciary. Madam Speaker, at the very end, let me tell the President that there can never be any fixing of the broken systems when he is clearly keeping corrupt ministers in his cabinet, when the cabinet is full of people from one region, when prices of basic commodities and services are rising on a daily basis, when government is using statement machinery to arrest Boni Kalindo every day for simply exercising his freedom of speech and the right to assemble. When the intelligence apparatus is being used to record phone conversations of the head of ACB in order to find reasons for her removal. When the government spends valuable public resources trying to create fictitious criminal charges against a former retired president. When NIF loans are given
Leader of the House,
only
with
to
these few
those
remarks,
affiliated to MCP,
Leader of Opposition,
and to again, when government business contracts are offered only to those connected to the ruling elite, among others. Madam Speaker, when the President was finishing his speech last week, he ended by saying, I yield the floor. I also yield the floor, and thank you for your attention.
Leader of Opposition. Honorable Deputy Whip, Government Whip, I did recognize you, and then Honorable Minister of Energy, I also did recognize you already in the speech.
Thank you so much. Madam Speaker, is it?
For members on my left, can I have